I'm back! Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, sorry, it's been over a month since I posted something on my main channel, as January usually is the month of, putting everything away and getting back to normal from the holidays, and busy with that and staying my weekends, and things are usually slower. However, to wrap up said January and going into February of 2025, I have to talk about a trade that my Calgary Flames made recently with the Philadelphia Flyers. So before I get into the video, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I have my other social media links down in the description below. So finally, I gotta have my Flames colors and Philadelphia Flyers color for this video, because those are the two teams that were involved in this trade. 6 pieces were exchanged in this transaction, and give a take and what you think of who won the trade and was it worth the prices to be made. So the Calgary Flames were looking for a young center with some upside, and I think this trade does accomplish that. It was trading away. This is who was involved in the transaction. So the Calgary Flames sending over to Philadelphia is left winger in Andrei Kuzmenko, and it was actually a year ago at this time that we acquired Andrei Kuzmenko from the Vancouver Canucks. So Kuzmenko was literally here for 1 year. He's off to the Philadelphia Flyers, but we also decided to move on from the player that we drafted in 2019 in the first round in Jakob Pelletier. And then the other 2 pieces going Philadelphia's way is a second round pick in this upcoming draft in 2025. For all I've been seeing, Calgary had 2 second round picks in this upcoming draft. It looks like it's their own, which is the higher of the 2 picks, because the other second round pick the Calgary Flames acquired was in the off-season that they acquired from the Washington Capitals in the Andrei Kuzmenko trade. And then, just to throw it in, maybe you gotta wonder, was this the difference? The Calgary Flames throwing a 7th round pick. Well, that's not going to be until 2028, or as Ryan Pinder did say with one of the trade videos, looking at picks a few years down the road, it's a 15-year-old that could be overlooked in the 7th round. So Calgary gives up Andrei Kuzmenko, Jakob Pelletier, a 2025 second round pick, which all sources said is their own second round pick, and not the one that they got from the Washington Capitals or Andrei Kuzmenko, and the 7th round pick, the 15-year-old right now in 2028. So who do we get in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jakob Pelletier, and 2 draft picks? Well, the Calgary Flames acquired left winger in Joel Farabee from the Philadelphia Flyers and center Morgan Frost. So we give up 4 pieces to get 2 pieces. And interesting with this trade, some were calling it a blockbuster. I don't know if I necessarily call it a blockbuster, not to the magnitude of Kachuk and Huberdeau level. I mean, heck, even TSN doesn't have the major trade banner when they list all their trades. But 3 of the 4 players that were involved in this transaction were former first-round picks in the respective drafts, and Andrei Kuzmenko was an undrafted free agent but had some hype when he was looking to come over in North America. And Andrei Kuzmenko actually is the oldest player involved in this trade, I should say, as he is 29, or going to be 29 in a couple days, now that we're in February. And Jakob Pelletier is 23, because he was still drafted in 2019. It was Joel Farabee that I believe was drafted he was drafted in 2017 and Morgan Frost 20. I'll look at the numbers, but we get Farabee and Frost. And I'm going to say, looking at this when it first broke down, I actually love this trade from the Calgary Flames point of view, and there's been some mixed reaction from Flyer fans in terms of who they gave up to get Jakob Pelletier and Andrei Kuzmenko. At least with the two players that we got from Philadelphia, they actually are best buds, so there's immediate chemistry right there. The only upside that I say for Philadelphia is you can maybe say they're taking a flyer, not too sure if you could say it's a reclamation project for Jakob Pelletier, as he has been having up and down trying to catch on with the Calgary Flames, and he actually was put on waivers earlier this season. It helps to send him down to the Calgary Wranglers and had some injuries, so they have a younger player in Pelletier compared to Frost and Farabee, but the big thing that the Flyers are rolling the dice on with Andrei Kuzmenko, the fact that he's Russian, did play in the KHL, Matvei Michkov, one of their intriguing Russian prospects. They played together in Russia, so hopefully maybe that could get them both going in that sense. It'll be interesting to see how Andrei Kuzmenko will coexist with John Tortorella, considering he struggled after his rookie season with Bruce Boudreau in Vancouver, transitioned to Rick Tocchet, and then the end of the last season when we had Kuzmenko, he looked like he found that first season magic, and then he struggled this season. So I'm going to say we did well trading away a player that was having a hard time getting the grips or getting on the team. Crowded on the winger side when we were looking for a young center, and another player that very skilled but one-dimensional that I still think maybe him going to Philadelphia with Michkov, out of Michkov, maybe he'll stay here, but I still think Andrei Kuzmenko will likely still be going back to the KHL, because he seems one of those players that is very well suited one-dimensionally in Russia, but not necessarily in North America. So when it comes to cap space, well, actually, the Calgary Flames, after this trade, still have $17.5 million in cap space. They actually add $850,000. While the Philadelphia Flyers, this is all in Puckpedia, they have $662,000 in cap space, but then this cap's going to go up to $95.5 million this season, or going into next season, because Andrei Kuzmenko had a $5.5 million cap hit for the rest of the season. There was no salary retained, because actually Calgary is taking on more salary, because it's $5.5 million cap hit going to Philadelphia, and it's $800,000 cap hit for Jakob Pelletier going to Philadelphia. While coming here, Joel Farabee, he has a $5 million cap hit. I should add in that Andrei Kuzmenko is an unrestricted free agent after this season. Jakob Pelletier is a restricted free agent after this season, while Joel Farabee, with his $5 million cap hit, he is actually signed until 2028. And then Morgan Frost, the center we got, he'll be a restricted free agent with a $2.1 million cap hit. I'm going to say, considering Calgary was looking for that young natural center, because the only other natural centers we have is Nazem Kadri and Michael Backlund, I'm pretty sure we're going to lock up Morgan Frost, as I'm going to say Calgary's looking for it. And I think this is a case of both with Frost and Farabee. There was also some word that they were on the sort of doghouse with Philadelphia and John Tortorella, and both those players could use a fresh start. I'm going to say these are the case of we wanted to get these players and maximize assets. So first, let's take a look at Joel Farabee. He is still, actually I'm recording this after they made their debut with the Calgary Flames He is still wearing number 86. He actually did play on the top line with Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau. Joel Farabee, he is born February 25th, 2000, so he'll be turning 25 in a couple of weeks. From Syracuse, New York, so he is an American-born, 6 foot, 180 pounder left winger. And as mentioned, his contract is up until 2028. And he actually was drafted in 2018. So Joel Farabee was drafted in 2018, 14th overall. And that was the draft class that the Calgary Flames didn't have any picks till the 4th round. And the only other player that the Calgary Flames have in the system that we drafted in 2018 is Martin Pospisil, meant to say, as this season with the Philadelphia Flyers, he had, in 50 games played, he has 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. He has scored 20 goals twice in his NHL career, and his best season in the NHL actually was last season, where he had exactly 50 points. Although he did have a hot start where he had like half those points in the first half of the year, whereas a point per game base. Then slowed down, but I say we added someone who has overall in his NHL career, he has played 385 games, scored 90 goals, 111 assists for 201 points. So I'm going to say we add someone who could score potentially 20 goals and 50 points. And I mentioned he turns 25 in a couple weeks, so that was the other part of the trade that Craig Conroy was always stressing about. And then the other player that we got from the Philadelphia Flyers, and Morgan Frost, the center, he wore 48 in Philadelphia, but he changed that number to number 16 in the for the Calgary Flames. And he was like on the third line as he was playing with Igor Sharangovich. That's who he mostly played with. And he was on the power play unit. I'm trying to think, it was Sharangovich and Coronado, I believe, that he had. Don't exactly recall the lines from last night's game, but Morgan Frost, he's brought in to improve the face-off because he had a 51% winning percentage, and that's been a weakness for the Calgary Flames. Morgan Frost, if you look at his profile, he was born May 14th, 1999, so he is going to be 25-26 when the spring rolls around. He is a Canadian from, I think where is he from? Aurora, Ontario, so he got a Canadian. And he was drafted in the first round, 27th overall by the Philadelphia Flyers. That was the year the Flyers had another first round pick. It was Nolan Patrick, but he injuries hasn't panned out. But Morgan Frost, so far this season, in 49 games, he has 11 goals, 14 assists for 25 points. He's another player that could potentially, score another 20 goals, 50 points. As his best season actually was 22-23 with the Philadelphia Flyers. He played 81 games. He had 19 goals, 27 assists, 46 points. Overall in his NHL career, he has played 279 games, has 50 goals, 85 assists for 135 points. So I'm going to say with offense being a stronger spot with the Calgary Flames this season, let's say we added 40 to 50 goals with these two forwards that easily could be in the top 9 or even top 6 going forward, as we have two middle 20-year-old players, including Joel Farabee, that he's under contract until 2028. It's only been one game with those two in the lineup, but I love this as a Calgary Flames fan, because who we gave up? Well, Andrei Kuzmenko, as mentioned, he had one great first season in the National Hockey League, and Andrei Kuzmenko, well, let's say he's 29 because his birthday is born February 4th, 1996, and he's from Yarsk, Russia, and he's a left winger. Philadelphia is banking on that he will gel with Matthew Michkov, as he was an undrafted free agent from the KHL. He did sign that 1 year with Vancouver, and then he signed that 2-year deal for $11 million in his first season in Vancouver, where his first season in the National Hockey League, 22-23, that was the season he had 81 games, 39 goals, 35 assists for 74 points. And then he kind of, his offensive production dropped off and then picked up again at the end of the season, because last season, 23-24, in Vancouver, in 43 games, he had 8 goals, 13 assists, or 21 points. But then after he came here to Calgary in the Elias Lindholm trade, he kind of found that half a goal a game pace again, because after the end of last season, he played 29 games with the Calgary Flames. He actually scored 14 goals, 11 assists for 25 points. So he found that game again. And then there was some debate about what is Calgary going to do with Andrei Kuzmenko, given that he was an pending unrestricted free agent going into this season. Well, he definitely struggled, as he only played 37 games. He was a healthy scratch for many games throughout the season. He had 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points for the Calgary Flames this season. And keep in mind, 5 of those points came in the last 5 games. Because Andrei Kuzmenko did score, I think it was like the middle of October. And then he didn't score again till the middle of January. So he went like 28 games without scoring a goal, and then for a while there, he kept being healthy scratch. Vancouver Canucks fans are going to say that sounded very familiar, especially last season under Rick Tocchet. So Andrei Kuzmenko is a very, very, very streaky offensive player. He has great sound bites, English no good, but he's still high on life and has very skilled. But it's his defensive game that I'm going to say is going to be extremely, extremely interesting, how he and John Tortorella are going to coexist. And I may mention, we'll look at 2 sets of numbers with Andrei Kuzmenko. Is in the NHL with the combination of the Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames. He has played 190 games, scored 65 goals, 70 points for 135 points, but you could say half of those points came in his first season, and then he's very, very streaky. On the KHL, Continental Hockey League, over in Russia, where he played in St. Petersburg, SK Petersburg. He played 315 games in the KHL. He has scored 85 goals, 115 points for exactly 200 points. And I keep thinking that Kuzmenko was not going to come back with the Calgary Flames, but I still think at this stage he might be going back to the Continental Hockey League after the season, where he feels more comfortable. And I'm going to say how things go between now and the end of the season will make or break that. And then the last piece, Jakob Pelletier, I'm going to say he definitely got the harsh reality of the business, because he actually liked it in Calgary and took it really hard, knowing that he got traded because he got pulled out of that game in the first period when we were playing the Anaheim Ducks. Andrei Kuzmenko was already a healthy scratch, and there was all that word that Flames and Flyers were working on a trade first with Kuzmenko, and then there was actually Morgan Frost, who said he got banged up because Philadelphia was also playing Thursday night in that same game, so he got pulled out before this trade culminated. But Jakob Pelletier, you could say it could potentially be a reclamation project for Philadelphia. He's the youngest player involved in the trade, as he was born March 7th, 2001. He's 23, going to be 24 next month. He is from Quebec City, Quebec, and we did draft him first overall in 2019, 26th overall, and actually I did go to his first ever game in the NHL when he played against Tampa Bay Lightning. That game was famous for Daryl doing his, "What number is Pelletier?" and he put his glasses on and read his stat line and said, "Looked alright. Got a long ways to go." I was like, well, yeah, he's going to have a long ways to go if he's going to have a 1,000-game NHL career. But he's been up and down with the farm team, both the combination of Stockton Heat and the Calgary Wranglers, as he did look like he was going to stick on because he was on waivers at the start of the year because his contract was structured where he had to go put on waivers before going to the Wranglers. And thankfully he did play with the Wranglers, and then we called him up and looked like he was slowly, developing chemistry. You never know with some of these players. But this season, with both the Calgary Flames and Calgary Wranglers, well, the Calgary Flames in 24 games, he had 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. While the Wranglers, he did play 20 games with the Wranglers and scored 3 goals, 16 assists for 19 points. So, and then if we can look at 2 sets of numbers, when it comes to Jakob Pelletier, as actually in the NHL, I mean, he hasn't played a full season equivalent in the NHL yet. Of the Calgary Flames, he's played 61 games. He has 8 goals, 13 assists for 21 points, and I mean, we're 5-6 years out of when he got drafted. Still a young player. I mean, probably, maybe could potentially use a change of scenery and see if that could rejuvenate him or have different opportunities with Philadelphia. I mean, too bad that, it's nice to hear players actually want to be here. That was definitely a term last couple of years. But in the AHL, he definitely is a point per game pace, because in the AHL, he's played 139 games with a combination of the Stockton Heat and the Calgary Wranglers. He has scored 51 goals, 79 assists for 130 points. So he at least can play professionally in the AHL. NHL, I think he's still gritting his teeth and finding his way and to become at least an everyday NHL player. But, I mean, there's still always that potential that we could get him back, but he's still a restricted free agent after this season. But I'm going to say for the Calgary Flames, I still think we're a better team with Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, because they both have proven more track record in the National Hockey League in terms of offensive production, and the fact that Morgan Frost, I think he's only going to be a better centerman, as the Calgary Flames have been a little weaker in natural center, because all we had is Nazem Kadri and Michael Backlund. Elias Lindholm was also that natural center before we traded him last season as in the package to get Andrei Kuzmenko. I know we've been trying to, although he's still a few weeks away, we've been trying to put Connor Zary more at center. Same with Martin Pospisil. And then we also have Kevin Rooney at depth. But the other thing that this trade also signifies, that with the players that we got in, for a player that has been in and out of the lineup, healthy scratched, struggling offensively, very one-dimensional in Andrei Kuzmenko, and Jakob Pelletier still trying to find his way in the National Hockey League. I'm going to say we bring in still young, established, more veterans, that this team is still looking to be on team make the playoffs instead of team tank. Because Calgary is still in the last wildcard spot in the Western Conference, and we're looking obviously over the shoulder with the Vancouver Canucks. However, the Los Angeles Kings have been slipping a little bit, so third in the Pacific could potentially still be up in the air. But that's my huge, looking at the breakdown of this trade. I like this trade as a Calgary Flames fan. I think it was worth giving up the players that we gave up in the draft picks. Well, that's notwithstanding what the Philadelphia Flyers do with those picks in terms of who they draft or what they use in future trades. But we definitely have maximized asset management, both last year in the Elias Lindholm trade to Andrei Kuzmenko. Keep in mind we have Hunter Brstevich, Yanni Yermo, who were both with the Wranglers. Hunter Brstevich almost looked like he potentially could have been an everyday defenseman. Neither of those defensemen have been called up, but they're at least in the system. And then that first round pick that we got from Vancouver and Matt Gradin, he's still playing in junior, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Still looking good. And then that 4th round pick, we traded that for 2 more picks. And I think it was Luka Misa and Eric Jameson. So, and the fact that the Vancouver Canucks, they did not keep Elias Lindholm, as he was a pending unrestricted free agent, going to Boston. Boston might have some buyer's remorse, as he hasn't really panned out as well with Boston. And also Boston was also the team that signed Nikita Zadorov. So you can debate about who won that trade last year when the Calgary Flames tried to trade away Elias Lindholm for Andrei Kuzmenko in that package. But now we have traded Andrei Kuzmenko with Jakob Pelletier and a couple of picks to get Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. And I feel the consensus is that most people say the Calgary Flames won this trade. I say, of course, notwithstanding the picks, but this shows that this team is still committed, still trying to make the playoffs. I just feel we have too much talent, too many hard veterans that we weren't going to tank and be a bottom 5 team. But leave it out to all you folks. Who won this trade? Do you like this trade? Flame fan, Flyer fan, hockey fan? I mean, essentially this, we could say, is a hockey trade, as Calgary looked to fulfill some needs, maximize assets. I'm going to say for Philadelphia, they're hoping that Andrei Kuzmenko, with prior chemistry that he had in Russia with Michkov, and be interesting how it coexist with John Tortorella and Jakob Pelletier. You could say is a younger version of players that replaced in Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost. So yeah, when you have 6 pieces involved in the trade and a lot of moving parts, a lot to break down, but yeah, 3 of the 4 players involved in this trade were originally all 1st round picks in their respective drafts. And I'm going to say it's not a blockbuster, but it's a significant trade, and I think this is something the Calgary Flames needed to try to maybe inject a little more offense, still keeping some youth and getting that, another natural center that the team was seeking. So what do you think of the trade? Anyways, I want to close it out and see if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. Just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I have my other social media links down in the description below. As Calgary has made this trade, we're still a month out from the NHL trade deadline, but we got the 4 nations coming up, so that's why there's been a lot more trade activity recently. I mean, we had the Mikko Rantanen 3-way trade that Colorado, Chicago, and Carolina recently swung last week. And then, speaking of Vancouver, well, apparently been hearing there's been gossip and drama and rift between JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. Well, JT Miller got traded to the back to the New York Rangers as where he wanted to go. And you got to wonder, what other trades do you see the Calgary Flames making between now and the trade deadline? I'm going to say this is probably the biggest trade that the Flames are going to make during the season. And there was a report that Calgary will not be trading Mackenzie Weegar, Nazem Kadri, or Rasmus Anderson. And those are all great moves. I personally think this upcoming off season, when it comes to Rasmus Anderson, and we can be the earliest we can do it, because next season will be his last season before he becomes a unrestricted free agent, as his contract is up in 2027, or 26 I should say. We should be signing Rasmus Anderson to an 8-year contract extension, as he's too valuable to the team. He wants to stay here. He's still valuable, and then that Stair thing is a bonus. But the other pending unrestricted free agents that the Calgary Flames have, well, unfortunately Anthony Mantha is injured, out for the year. Don't think he's going to get traded. He'll probably just get signed somewhere else in the free agency once he heals up. I think Justin Kirkland is an unrestricted free agent, and got feel-good story with him ended early because he's out with an injury, but he's a depth forward that we could say would be enough to sign him. Then I think Kevin Rooney, hit or miss. However, the one trade that I think the Calgary Flames need to make is, I think it's clear, Justin Wolf, he is the starter. He's ready now. And he was the Rookie of the Month in January. And the other thing that's got me excited is Dustin Wolf's numbers, and they compare it to Martin Berdeur's numbers in his rookie year. They're lining up. So we have a stud goalie, I think, in the making. However, we need to upgrade in backup, because I think Dan Bedard is kind of the Achilles heel right now. Looking at the goaltending, so if he can upgrade our backup goalie, either in a trade, or do we call up Devin Cooley from the Wranglers for him to back up, or do we bring in a more established veteran? And like you say, Alexander Gorgiev, who went from Colorado to San Jose. The cap hits both work. Both Dan Bedard and Alexander Gorgiev cap hits are similar. They're both unrestricted free agents. Could that be a move that Calgary could look for? But that's my final thoughts on other trades that the Calgary Flames might make, and I'll make the video as soon as I can. So I'm going to say, for Andrei Kuzmenko and Jakob Pelletier, I say thanks for your time with the Calgary Flames, and good luck with Philadelphia, minus when you're not playing the Flames, of course. And then, of course, welcome to Calgary, both Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. I'm excited to have both of you here in Calgary to contribute to the team. And I did watch a video that they're one of their best buddies, that they did like some kind of strange card game, card trivia game. Maybe that can continue here in Calgary. So as I say, go Flames, go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.